doing a quick test here. I think I finally have all my technical stuff. Hey Matt, how you doing? Thought I'd do a test today live stream just to make sure I got all my what together. Right? Yes, I will. Hi everybody. This is kind of an impromptu thing. I think I finally sorted it out and I traced it. Hold on, I'm gonna close this. Hello everyone. Sorry if you didn't see me. I had something turned off here for a second. I want to apologize for all the technical issues we've been having over the last couple of weeks and stuff. I think I finally got it sorted out. Kind of traced it down to a bad version of Google Chrome, believe it or not. I was running 0.68 and on my desktop computer for a few weeks, and I just did a test on my laptop, and it turns out that 0.67 is what I needed. So because we use Google Hangouts to capture the video from the other guests, and then we live stream that out. So I was having some difficulties. So I apologize. I think we finally got this thing sorted out. I just got to tell Google Chrome to stop updating, and that should help us tremendously. No, hold on here. I just got to respond. Just doing a test. Michael Bodner was just texting me. He was asking me, "Are you live? Are you live?" Yeah, I'm live, but I'm just doing a test here, so I want to apologize for that. Anyhow, yeah, I know. Finally, I think that I got this thing finally sorted out, and I feel terrible for all the technical issues that we've been having. But I think I finally got it sorted out. So at first I thought it was Skype, so Microsoft, but turns out it was something else. I don't know. So keep our fingers crossed for tonight at 8 p.m. when we go live with the other guys, and we'll get this thing going finally. So you know what? Might as well take an opportunity to ask any questions. If you guys got anything, let's do this. I got the chat open here, so you guys can. Let me just bring it up into the other screen, so that I don't look like I'm looking off to the side here. I can just kind of look at your faces and see what's going on here. Is Summon working now, David? Yeah, the latest software is 2018.24, and Summon is present in there, so it's just started to roll out. Michael says Fio wasn't ready for that. No worries. Okay. Yeah, so by the way, I know some people have been asking, how do you get the latest software update on the Model 3? Now, there's a lot of wife tales and stuff that if you show up at Tesla service and hook up to their Wi-Fi, that it will come down to your computer, but that's not typically true. What you can do, though, is that you can call your local service center and give them your VIN number, give them your information, and they can usually put a request in the system to push the update out to you. So if you think that you're stuck on an older version, quite a bit far back, and you really want the latest version, just call the service center and just ask the service advisor for some help on that, and they might be able to do that. At least it's worked for me on a couple occasions when I went down for service, doing small adjustments, whatever, and I just basically asked them, can you just put the latest software on? He says, yep, no problem. We'll ping it, and then in my case, I've seen it half an hour in the future, and it just shows up in the car. How much would you say the insurance on the Model 3 costs? Well, that's a good question because it varies by jurisdiction. If anybody in Ontario is looking, I would recommend you take a call or give a call to Dulaban Insurance. They're one of our sponsors, but I just switched my insurance over to them for a Model X, and we saved quite a bit of money. Plus, the biggest thing, of course, is my deductible went down from, well, my old insurance company wanted $2,000 as a deductible, and Dulaban got me down to $500. I think you could probably push it down even lower if you want a little bit more. But anyways, I felt that was pretty fair. Their website is Duliban, Duliban insurance.com. Check them out. But only if you're not sure. They don't have any plans in the U.S. It's just for Ontarians. So they're a sponsor. You'll hear from them tonight. Anyways, let's just see here. How's my Model 3 reservation coming along? Look, I'm going to sound like a broken record if you've just joined the channel or whatever. We bought a Model X because it fit our needs better. I still have my Model 3 reservation. It's going to go to my wife. And she's decided to wait for the base model. She doesn't want to spend any money. She wants the bare bones car. So we still have our reservation. You can stop asking. We're not abandoning the Model 3 at this point. Later, if it comes in production later this year or early next year, we'll take a look at that. But she is not in a position to buy any car at this point. So even if she could pull the trigger, and I know some people said, well, you can still get the rebate and that buys your regular battery. It doesn't matter how much the car costs. We're not buying a car right now. We just bought the Model X, and that was a lot of money. So we're not prepared for a second car at this point. We have our second car, by the way, for those of you who don't know, is a 2009 Volkswagen City Golf, just a regular gas car. And it has 40,000 kilometers on it. We don't drive it. We bought it brand new. Sits in the garage. Our daily driver is the Model X. So why would we spend what amounts to $70,000 or more Canadian on a first production Model 3 just to have it sit in the garage? It just doesn't make financial sense. As much as I love the Model 3 and as much as I would love to drive one on a daily basis in addition to the X, that's just financial suicide. We just don't do that. So we're waiting. We'll see. But it's up to my wife because it's in her ballpark. That's her car. Let me see here. What else? Go down here. Slip the guy a $20 bill. I don't know what that means. Oh, yeah, for the service guys. Yeah. Well, maybe. I've generally found service, by the way, to be really, really good. Those guys really do. In my case, anywhere here in Toronto, of course, I hear reports of bad service in different places, but they've been really good. A little overworked, but they are very good. Let's see here. Yes, Matt just gave a link. If you guys are looking in the chat here, Matt Obadia gave us a link, EV-FW, that's EV firmware, reports.php. If you click on that link, it shows you all of the people that have signed up for that website and who have reported what firmware they're on and what they've seen. So it gives you a little bit of a tally on a daily or weekly basis as to what's actually going out. So it's a good way to track firmware releases that's going out to the cars. Your average Canuck says, I got a quote on a Model 3 from Intac for $990 a year. Well, that's really good. Mine costs a little bit more. It varies by jurisdiction. Again, I live in an area where insurance is generally high because of accident rates and so on and so forth. You live in the boonies, it's going to cost you cheaper. It's going to be a lot less. So, let me see here. Matt says, I got a quote for insurance first production that was $50 more than a 16 Elantra. It's worth less than a third of a Model 3. Well, there you go. It's good. I do know that Duliban, who's the insurance broker that I use, do take into account the safety of the Teslas. So that contributes to some significant savings for some people. So I do recommend you take a look at that. Your average Canuck, 45-year-old male with a clean driving record. Well, good. I'm a little bit older, and I have an excellent driving record. No accidents, no claims, or anything like that. So I would hate to see somebody who's about 24 years old trying to get a quote on Model 3. I'm sure it would be pretty expensive, and especially unmarried. So, but it varies. Let's see here. What else we got? Thoughts on the 2170 batteries migrating to S and X? I do believe that will happen in due time. But Tesla has a lot of irons in the fire right now, and it's not a priority. But if you really look at the rest of the product line, of course, the semi-truck has these new cells. I'm pretty sure the Roadster has these new cells. It's just a matter of time before they migrate that over to the other two cars. There are some technology things that are going on in the Model 3 that are somewhat more advanced in some respects than the S and the X. So, Tesla can't keep those high-end cars behind for much longer. They're going to have to update them. But who knows when? I mean, the Model S refresh has been rumored for like forever, and we still haven't seen anything on that. Excuse me. Let me take I needed that. Faza says, when is all-wheel drive going to be available in Canada to be ordered? Well, if we see what Tesla said so far, middle of this year, so I would expect sometime maybe next month. Performance car is coming too. I know a lot of you are panicking because of the rebates in Ontario. I just had a meeting last night with some people from EV Society who have their fingers on the pulse of what's going on as far as rebates are going on. Premier Doug Ford has canceled the Green Ontario rebates for home improvements, solar panels, that kind of thing. EV rebates are next. So, yeah, it's going to be unfortunate, but it's going to make not going to be very nice. So, thankful that Tesla did everyone here in Ontario a solid by shifting most of the production from the last part of May into June to Ontario, so that most people could claim the rebate. But I'm afraid that it's going to be gone very soon. So it's very sad. But who knows? We'll see what happens. There are some talk about trying to lobby the federal government to finally get on board and do something, because that's more fair. And I've said this many times. I do believe that EV incentives belong at the federal level, just like in the U.S., because it's fair. Everybody qualifies. It's not fair right now that only BC, Ontario, and Quebec get EV rebates, and that leaves out people on the East Coast and the West Coast, or in the Middle Coast and stuff. So, anyways, we'll see what transpires about that. I know a lot of you in the U.S. who don't care about this stuff, but, us Canadians kind of matters once in a while. Anyways, let's move on. Let me see here. Best winter tire for the Model 3. Well, I would take a very serious look at the Michelin Alpine. That's what I have on my X. But I think in the industry, the best tires that most people really comment on is the Blizzaks. Who makes those? Bridgestone Blizzaks. Those are really good. And the Scandinavian tires called Hakkapeliitta. No, Nokian Hakkapeliitta. Look that up. I know it's a really long. If I can Google that. Maybe one of you can Google it and just stick it in the comments. Those are generally understood to be probably the best winter tires in the world, period. They're not particularly cheap, but anyways, look those up. A lot of guys swear by them around here. Let me see here. Backwoods Bungalow. What's your view on the desirability of four-wheel drive for the Model 3? Is it worthwhile waiting for all-wheel drive? Well, it's a really good question. I think if you're talking about performance, that's one thing. If you're talking about handling, all-wheel drive is better for handling, of course. It's excellent in the winter, but as long as you put winter tires, I see too many people saying things like, "Oh, I'll just get all-wheel drive." That's not good enough in the winter. You need winter tires. That makes all the difference in the world. All-wheel drive plus winter tires is the best. If you can get anything, just get winter tires. All-wheel drive is a very expensive option. It's $5,000 US, $6,600 Canadian. That buys you a lot of winter tires. And if you're counting on a rebate of some form, you may or may not want to wait. So we'll see what transpires with that. But there's plenty of people that have a rear-wheel drive version of the Model S and the Model 3, and they absolutely love them. So that's up to you. That's a personal choice. But I don't have a choice. On the X, it's all-wheel drive all the time. So I don't have much of an opinion as far as that's concerned. But there you go. The Oregon one says, when do you think Tesla will be consistent in production quality? Well, on the Model 3, from what I've seen, and I've seen lots of Model 3s, we just had a meetup there last weekend. We had over 100 show up. Quality is excellent. I would put up the Model 3 against pretty much any German or Japanese car at this point. Earlier cars, not so much. Today, they've got it down. It's really good. Now, the problem is, what you read online is the negativity. You don't hear about people that are happy about the car, right? Or the quality, right? So you got to keep that. So there's a disconnect between, what people report as good and what people report as bad. And with anything negative, all you hear about is the bad. You don't hear about the good. So just keep that in mind. But quality on the Model 3 is really good. I am going to be doing a series of videos soon, really going into detail on the Model 3 in some respects, and they're going to be like really high quality. I got some new camera gear coming that's really going to take these videos to the next level. So I do want to say, for any of you who are Patreon sponsors or supporters, I really want to thank you, because that helps pay. Camera equipment's not cheap. So yeah, we've been using the funds for some of that camera stuff, so that's worked out really well. Having said that, one of the things I am going to do is maybe consider doing a video on what to look for in the Model 3. So if you're taking delivery, what are the problem areas? Because there are some areas where the Model 3, it's kind of hit or miss. So I'll do something along those lines to show you what to look for. So if you're waiting for a Model 3, you're waiting for delivery, it'll probably help you out during the inspection process. So look for that soon. Let's see here. Did I already have, Bruno says, did I ever have my McDonald's coffee today? No, I didn't. And I feel bad because I'm starving. The McDonald's coffee, by the way, and I know I talk about this sometimes on the videos, the McDonald's coffee, because here in Canada, the #1 staple is Tim Hortons. And Tim Hortons coffee is okay. But McDonald's in Canada has just been clobbering Tim Hortons on the coffee front. And they have a different formulation. Now, when I was in California, I went to a McDonald's and I tried the coffee, and of course in Florida, and it doesn't taste the same as it does here. It's a different formulation. So if you're ever in Canada, try them both. Tell me which one you like the best. But McDonald's, FTW. All right, let's see here. Matt, Badia, do you think Gigafactory 3 will be internally funded, or do you think it will raise equity and debt? You know, that's a really good question. Now, I'm not a financial guy, but they will have to come up with some money to build this thing. It's going to be really interesting. If Tesla really is profitable, let's say in the third and fourth quarter, and I believe that they're really teetering towards that with the Model 3, finally, you know, getting some production numbers and the costs actually finally coming down, because you know, as Elon says many times, if you spend $2 billion and you build 200 cars, you know, those cars are basically $2 million a piece. Is that right? Is that math right? The more you make of something, the cheaper it is, because you get to spread that cost over a larger volume of cars, right? And that's something that a lot of the shorts don't seem to understand. That, you know, they make, oh, Tesla's losing money, losing money, losing money. Well, if they were to stop spending money and stop doing R&D, they'd be instantly profitable. But they're trying to grow. So as far as the Gigafactory 3 is concerned, I think there's going to be probably a combination of both. They'll probably take some of that money from the Model 3 as profits, reinvest it, and probably do some more equity and debt raising. Tesla doesn't seem to have any trouble raising money. Elon doesn't have any trouble raising money, I should say. So we'll see what transpires. But yeah, that'll be the Chinese one. So, and of course in China, they've lifted those requirements for Chinese ownership. So don't expect any money from the Chinese. You know, they might give them some land or some tax abatements or something like that, but don't expect China to pay for it. So. How bad was the... so Brian says here, how bad was the employee sabotage? Any word? Ooh, yeah, it's, you know, that's in litigation. Of course, when things are in litigation, they don't talk about it too much. But it looks like it was an act of somebody trying to do some retribution internally and didn't realize how much doo-doo he was going to get into. So it's he's not going to have a very fun life for a while. So, because Tesla's hell-bent to put the screws to this guy. So we'll see what transpires. But yeah, if he did some damage internally, yeah, that's not going to be very good. Of course, we saw a little dip in the stock price. I think it's come back, hasn't it? Let me just have a quick look here. Take a look at the chart. Let's look at a 5-day movement here. Yeah, it's mostly recovered. So cooler heads are prevailing, I guess. Typical with the stock business. Okay, let's go a couple more here, and then I'm going to cancel out because, hey, I got to go get that coffee, right? So, and if I finally got this thing sorted out, so we'll be able to do it live tonight here with the rest of the guests. So. Someone asks here your guess on European introduction to Model 3. Well, it's not really going to be until at the very earliest late this year. I'm really thinking that it's going to be spring of next year. Of course, Europe has this dichotomy between some are right-hand drive, some are left-hand drive. Elon did say that the Model 3 has been designed right from the start to be mostly symmetric. so they could easily move the steering wheel and the controls over to the right-hand side. I mean, if you look at the dash, it's symmetrical. So they were thinking in the future to be able to get those cars into production as soon as possible. But right now, it's all about getting that 5,000 car per week threshold as soon as possible before the start of a quarter, because that triggers the federal tax credit in the U.S. Start of the phase out. So they want to be able to hit the ground running. And that's why they're pushing really hard to get to the end of the quarter at 5,000 cars. So focus is still on North America for the time being. They did a little bit of a deviation over to Ontario to help us a little bit. And of course, that slows down some of the deliveries in the U.S. So it's a bonus for everybody. But Europe, yeah, I don't really think it's going to be until at least the spring of next year, maybe the summer of next year. It all depends on how production keeps ramping up. 5,000 is just like their initial goal. They want to keep going. So we'll see what happens with that. Okay, let's see here. Backwoods Bungalow says Bjorn managed okay through the winter in Norway with two-wheel drive as Model S, but was very impressed with the 70D loan car in the winter snow. Yeah, of course, it's just like anything else. As I said, two-wheel drive because of the 50-50 weight distribution, very low center of gravity. Two-wheel drive car is great in the snow, but winter tires plus all-wheel drive, it's all good. Let's see here. Maybe one more, and then I got to kick out of here, guys. Magnus. Let's see here. Backwoods Bungalow. I agree with keeping the low mileage second car and waiting later to replace it. Yes, well, as I said, the Model 3 Reservation is going to my wife. I can't afford another car. So it's going to be her decision, but she is absolutely not in a position to buy another car at that particular time. There's some stuff going on with work and stuff where she's trying to get a different position. She doesn't drive as much. Now she works 3 days from home. So, there's no cost. Because I did tell her, look, stop taking the train and then you can drive your car to work because it's free to, your monthly pass to park at work is cheaper than the train. But she says, well, I'm working for 3 days from home now. So I've not taken the train. So that's money in my pocket. So anyways, that's a story for another thing. So, yeah, so she's made lots of talk about going to an electric car for her next car, but she's just not ready quite yet. Pascal Goudreau says, Matt, I'm getting mine today. Well, congratulations. I'm assuming you're Ottawa, Montreal area. Where are you, Pascal? Where are you? Please put a comment in the thing. Let me know where you are. We'll wait for that answer. Okay, any more questions before we move on? Okay, so I'm just going to go back here. Someone here asked, Ubeli, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Any thoughts on the temporary production line? It's not like any other manufacturer would do anything as agile as that. No, that's true. I know there's been a lot of talk about, oh, Tesla's building cars in a tent. Well, first of all, it's California. They got good weather. And second of all, those tent structures these days are really, really good. I used to house my airplane in a Quonset fabric tent, 365 days a year through winter and snow. It's not an issue. It's not to say that they can't build a permanent structure around it, but if these tents are working out for them, who's to complain about it, right? You're gonna get your car. That's all that matters at the end of the day, right? Doesn't matter if they build it in a boring company tunnel underneath Los Angeles. Who cares? Anyways, okay, look, I'm going to call it quits right now. We will see you later tonight. I've got this thing finally sorted out. Streaming is working. I got the audio working for my guests, so we're all good. So let's reconvene tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time, or wherever else are in the world, and I'll send out a tweet, and hope to see you then. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you later tonight, okay? See you later. Bye for now.